You're listening to the Warlord Radio Podcast.
Looks like we're running.
We are rolling. Greetings, Warlords.
And we're back.
We are back, finally. It feels like we haven't been in this room for a minute, you know what I mean?
It does. It seems like a very long time since we did our last episode. And it hasn't been.
It was, yeah. I think it was just a
but it feels like
busy-ass weekend.
Yeah.
So, I went out. We both went out to do Frightmare. We had different things, but we did it. We made it to Frightmare. It was harrowing, and it almost didn't happen a couple of times because I don't know how to read fucking emails, and parking was a thing. Parking was a big thing. Parking ended up being a major thing.
Yeah.
The second day, I drove around for like an hour and a half. I was like, I don't know my way around this place.
Right? So,
but we got it figured out, and I made it into the festival.
Yeah, awesome. So let's start at the beginning. So this episode is a special Texas Frightmare Weekend recap. Because for anybody that wasn't aware, we were actually on site at Texas Frightmare Weekend. I was actually working on the staff, which I have been for. I always get fuzzy when I try to think back on when I started, but I think my first one that I worked was in 2011.
Okay,
so this would have been my 8th year.
Wow.
And this was the 14th year of Frightmare. Mm-hmm. So actually, as long as STD. So
oh wow, that is a weird coincidence.
Yeah.
And they started off at like a much smaller hotel down the road.
They have changed hands a few times. Not changed hands, but changed venues a few times. Mm-hmm. In the early days, they moved around. They've most recently been at the Hyatt Regency at the DFW airport, and they've been there for, man, again, I'm getting fuzzy, but I want to say 6 years, 5 years, 6 years, something like that. It's definitely the longest that they've been at a venue.
Because it was jam-packed. Like, I was actually talking to, there were a couple of people that I was talking to in interviews that will not make it on this podcast. I will get into that later.
Right.
But I was talking to a couple of people, and they were like, it's suspected that they might be changing, and this is pure conjecture. I'm just throwing this out there for dramatic content, but they may have to change venues again because they're starting to outgrow that place.
Right.
Because, I mean, the attendance was awesome. I mean, there were so many very enthusiastic, very happy people there. That was the whole vibe I got all weekend, was just that, like, everyone wanted to be there.
Right. Yeah.
Which was great, man. It was a really fun vibe.
It's a giant nerd convention.
Totally.
But it's a lot of fun. Not that it wouldn't be, but, it's...
I was about to say, man, nerd conventions are a blast.
Yeah. No, what I mean by that is I haven't been to a bunch of them outside of Frightmare, but it's just from what I've gathered from other people is this one is a little more homey. This one is a little more friendly. This one just has more kind of a hangout vibe than people that go to like Comic-Con, right?
Yeah.
Where it's strictly that...
That's like a scene thing almost at this point.
Like you just go there to get your autograph, to get your shirt or whatever.
To get your Instagram pictures.
Yeah, but at this one, since it's at a hotel, like people are up all night partying with each other. Mm-hmm. And like there's stories on the Facebook group page about like people hooking up and getting married there and all this kind of stuff. Yeah, like all kinds of crazy stuff. So that aspect of it makes it more like tribal, I guess, than opposed to a more impersonal con that might be bigger.
I get that. That was kind of the way I was going to describe it is like horror is one of those genres like heavy metal or like wrestling or something where the fan base is like super loyal, super fucking passionate about it. And, like, sometimes that can breed conflict, but this was, like, the friendliest con I've ever been to. Like, I saw maybe 2 people that were too drunk to be there, and that was about it. Like, that was all of the drama. It did get very dramatic in the hallway at one point, and that was great. Yeah. There was this drunk chick, and I was sitting down charging the batteries for the recorder, and there was this drunk chick just kind of, like, sitting in the corner, rocking back and forth and talking to herself. Yeah. But I didn't realize she was wasted. I was like, she might just be nuts. Like, that happens. Yeah. And then she got up, accosted this entire group of people, very slurredly saying, like, you don't know what you're missing. You guys have messed up big time.
Nice.
To which this entire group just replied, okay.
Right.
And then she just like fucking stumbled off into a crowd. And
Right.
then, and then there was this one dude outside, this tall metalhead looking dude, but like Slipknot metalhead.
Right.
And not to disparage Slipknot metalheads, but you guys have like a specific set of pants.
Right.
And he was wasted. He was fucking wasted. And I don't think he actually went inside the convention all weekend. Because every time I saw him, he was hanging out in the same spot outside.
In that smoking area by the hotel.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which, of course, I spent a lot of time. That's where I got all of my interviews almost. It was way quieter out there than it was in the floor. And I was just like, this is Warlord Radio Smoke Break Edition.
No, that's genius. That's absolutely the best place to do it.
But the cosplayers were legit. And the vendors were legit, and you know, it was a really positive experience. I wish I had done better at it.
Right. Well, you know, it's a lot to take in. You know, the first one that I went to,
I underestimated that.
Like the first one that I went to, you know, when I first got to meet like George Romero and Tom Savini and Bub from Day of the Dead, and you know, it was just, you know, kind of the same thing where it's just my eyes were big as saucers, and it's like I saw everything that I wanted to buy. I was like, holy shit, because not only do they have like normal stuff like shirts and banners and movies, but they've got like weird random things like carnivorous plants that are live and that they will sell you there in like special, you know, pots. They got a guy that does crystal etching on glasses for like shot glasses and stuff. And he's the guy that does our shot glasses. That's where I met him.
Okay, because I mean his work is incredibly detailed.
Yeah, shout out to Robert of Drink with the Living Dead.
Drink with the Living Dead.
He does the etching of the Frightmare glasses that they sell there, and then he's got a booth there where he will sell pretty much anything glass etched. He just does mostly like shot glasses and beer glasses.
And speaking of Drink with the Living Dead, I ran into Lyle from Ghoultown.
Lyle was Ghoultown.
Up there.
He was right across from where I was.
Oh, okay, right. Yeah. Did you talk to him at all? He's a super cool guy, man.
I did,
He's you know that's Chance's cousin.
No, I didn't know that.
Our drunkest, biggest fan, Chance.
Right.
Yeah, that's his cousin.
Okay.
Lyle,
small world.
Yeah, Lyle is a Bigfootologist,
yes.
I guess.
He's got like 2 books, and he's done like a little mini documentary, and he's also in the rockabilly band Ghoultown, so he's there selling his CDs and stuff like that.
Even rockabilly, it's a weird like outlaw country mixed with straight horror punk. It's real wild. I recommend anybody should check out Ghoultown. I don't know if it'll be your flavor, but like it's definitely you need to listen to Ghoultown and make the decision.
Especially here in Texas, because they're a big Texas band that's been around for a while.
Yeah, they put on a great show. Have you ever seen them live?
I haven't seen them live.
I used to play with them all the time when we were in the ska band, and that was a weird matchup. Those were just like these random punk shows where they were like, if you have the word punk in the genre of your name, you get to be on this stage. It was a very eclectic group of fucking suburban white kids.
Yeah.
So, like, tell us what you were doing stuff all weekend, just to snapping in and moving. I saw you for maybe like 5 minutes each day.
Yeah,
and
so
you're busy as hell.
Yeah, so you know, the staff have different roles there, and some of the people will sit at the help desk and like just point people in the right direction, because there's a lot to figure out. There's multiple rooms, and you know, like people will autograph in one room or take their photo op in another room, and all this kind of stuff. So it really is a madhouse of people and bodies and stuff like that. And especially for people that haven't been there, it can be totally overwhelming.
Right.
So there's the help desk. Then there's the guys that help move all the shit in and out of the convention, you know, and they have that job. And I'm one of the... you know, there's no title for it, but basically I'm a line guy. Like most of the time I control lines, because I can be louder than most of the people there, and you know, I don't have a problem with telling people no.
Yeah,
so,
which you have to do. I saw so many upset. I mean, I don't want to make it sound like, you know, if you go there, you're not going to get to the end. But I mean, like, the reality of the situation is there's 5 million people in line, and this person can only give everybody so much before they just want to die, and they have to call it a day. And it has to be someone's unpleasant job to like tell those people that like the line's done for the day. And there were a couple of people that were very upset.
Oh yeah,
very vocal.
Yeah, and that just falls on us.
Yes.
To deliver that news. So that's what I've done pretty much, every year. Is just manage different people's lines. I've done the first year I was there, I did Clive Barker.
Awesome.
And then I did Ernest Borgnine.
Really?
Yeah.
How was that?
That was a transformational experience. I am not lying. That motherfucker was one of the very coolest people I have ever met or heard of in my life.
No shit.
He was mind-blowingly cool.
Shout out to Ernest Borgnine.
I know. He's
in one of my very, very favorite movies ever.
Yeah, which is
Logan's Run.
Which
is not even a great movie. I just love it.
Well, he's in one of my all-time favorite movies, The Wild Bunch.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking fantastic movie. That's way better than Logan's Run.
And so, I was already like what, because the first year that I worked it, the whole reason that I got able to get on the staff, because staff is pretty much like referral only. Like, you got to know a guy and they refer you, because that's kind of like the way that they vest you. Because what they don't want is to bring people in, because it's all volunteers,
right?
And then people wander away from their post, or be unreliable, or just trying to be getting autographs the whole time and not be professional. Because that's part of the gig, is that when you're there, you're supposed to be quasi-professional.
Yeah, you're working.
You're supposed to be answering questions and making sure people aren't fucking with the stars that are there to sign autographs and stuff like that.
Right.
And you can't be a douchebag and be like, hey man, can you sign this for me? And all that kind of thing.
No, but that makes people not want to do your con anymore.
Right.
Like, yeah.
They're kind of picky about who they bring onto staff. So, I had gone one year and was blown away. And Alex told me, he's like, well, hey, you should talk to Abel because he works there. And I didn't know that because I didn't see him when I went.
Right.
And I was like, shit. So I messaged him. I was like, hey, man, I was like, do you guys ever need any help? He's like, yeah, I'll bring you in. And it was just like, that was it. Done.
Yeah.
So he introduced me to Scott. And, Scott talked to me for like 30 seconds. Yeah, you're cool. You can come on in. I mean, that was really it, And from then on, Scott's been a great friend.
Dude, one of my favorite parts of that whole weekend was when I came up to thank Scott, and he was just like, who the fuck is this guy? Because he had a million things going on in his head.
You do not want to be him.
It was so fucking funny just watching his face try to recognize me. It was like, I could have stood there and done that all day. Yeah. But shout out to Scott. Thank you.
No, Scott is the glue that keeps that whole thing running.
Absolutely.
And everybody should buy him a drink.
Which seemed to run very smoothly, in my opinion.
It did.
From an outside perspective, everything, there wasn't any major fucking craziness.
No, it's shocking how many people are in there and how little drama there is.
Yes.
You do see people that, like you said, step over the line. They're either wasted or irritated or just punchy from being around a bunch of people, which happens.
Yeah,
but it really doesn't happen too often.
No.
It's not like you're escorting a bunch of drunks out of there because they're fist fighting. That element doesn't really happen. But what does happen is people get snippy for being in lines, or people start complaining and being like, this is bullshit, I paid to get in and I'm not getting the autograph that I want. And that's kind of like what you're dealing with.
Right.
So,
just kind of like angry nerds.
Yeah, pretty much.
I've been an angry nerd. I know what it's like.
And I fucking get it, man. It's like, I look at some of those people because, literally, there are times that people can, especially, if you can only go, one day. You're like, dude, I'm only there Saturday, and I waited 4 hours in line to meet
I did
Bruce
this
Campbell
all day.
Right. I came to meet Bruce Campbell, and I never got a chance to meet Bruce Campbell, and fuck this. I understand that.
It sucks.
But that also, you're the one that's willing to wait in line for 4 hours. You got to weigh your options. It's like there's a whole lot of other things you can be doing. If you're putting all of your chips in that basket, hey man, that's the way it goes.
One of the interviews that I got was a friend of mine that waited in line to see Bruce Campbell for 3 hours. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I love Bruce Campbell. I think I love Bruce Campbell. I think our listeners know I love Bruce Campbell.
As do I.
I probably would not stand in line for 3 hours ahead, just to get an autograph from Bruce Campbell.
I wouldn't do it even if you could guarantee me that I would get an autograph.
No, if I saw him in a hallway, I'd try and lure him off into a corner with a bottle of bourbon and see if he'd sign the bottle of bourbon after he drank it.
But I mean, I get it. Everybody's got their own kind of fandom and stuff like that, and that's cool. But
But
people
yeah,
have to understand it's like you buy a ticket, but that ticket does not guarantee that you're going to see who you want to see. So you really got to kind of make a judgment call. You're like, do I want to meet a bunch of people and walk around and enjoy the atmosphere, or do I really want to try to meet like one or two people? Because if you're there for a day and you're trying to meet one of the big people, like if you're there to see Tim Curry this year or Sam Raimi this year, man,
the Sam Raimi line was fucking insane.
Dude, just plan that is what you're gonna get, maybe, and all you're gonna get.
Yeah, I mean, if you're there for one day, you're gonna spend at least one day in that line.
Just because fucking everybody wants to meet those people. Like, I want to meet them, but like I said before, like, no fucking way am I getting in that line. So, props to the people that do, but it's like,
people with strong knees. No smoking addictions.
When you got to cut that line off, or when you got to like deliver like bad news, it's like, people get really upset really fast.
While it is understandable, it's completely out of your control, because a lot of what people don't realize is like it really is up to the star, like how long that line is open.
Oh yeah, it's 100%. Like that was basically like I would answer that question all weekend 100 times at least.
I heard it. I heard you answer it for somebody else. That's why I said it just now. Like I got that information from you.
It's like people would be like, "Hey man, where's Joe Bob? The line's not moving." I was like, "I don't know. They don't clear it with me. They show up when they want to show up, and they leave when they want to leave. And sometimes they have great reasons, but they don't share those with us either. It's not like they're like, oh, hey, man, my wife's in the hospital, I got to run. No, they just get up and leave. Or if they got to take a piss, they don't clear it. They just go up and do what they got to do.
They don't work for you.
And every one of us are volunteers. So not a single person there that's in a staff shirt is getting paid dick.
No.
We're just doing it because, either like we're friends with people, or we just kind of like enjoy, working the event or whatever. But, every once in a while you get someone, they're paying you guys too much, and I'll just laugh in their face.
It's like, I'm not getting paid. As a matter of fact, like, I can't buy any of this shit right now because I'm dealing with your fucking ass.
Yeah. So,
sorry, that's how I would react. And that's why I didn't volunteer to be a line guy.
Well, I mean, it is, sometimes you do got to be that way. It's, that's one of those things where it's like, one of the reasons that they stick me there is because, like, I'll just tell a line, I'm like, hey guys, sorry, the line is done. What this bullshit? Can we get tickets to be first in line tomorrow? What's going on? It's like, hey man, line is done. Have a great time looking at whatever else you want.
Yeah, man.
Well, fuck you. I want to talk to the guy in charge. And good luck finding him. You have a nice weekend.
That's exactly how I'd handle that situation.
So
I'm like, if you can find him, tell him I need a smoke.
Yeah. But then again, I don't want to overharp on that, because the other 99% of people are so cool. Like, even and especially people that have been waiting like 3 hours in line, like, you can sometimes...
You always get the one dick that's loudmouth about it, but most people get it, I feel like, Oh,
yeah, the vast majority of people are so amazingly cool. And, it is really fun to see someone, like, tear up as they're getting ready to meet a star, or be like, I'd see a lot of people, because, like, a lot all weekend, I would take pictures for people with,
I saw Cassandra Peterson from like across the aisle and just fucking froze. Yeah. Like, I wasn't even in line. I wasn't going to
But, when people get up there and they hand you their phone or their camera, they're like, hey, could you take my picture? And it's like, yeah, I got you. It's cool. So.
That's an awesome feeling, though. Like, you get to, like, capture a moment for these people.
Yeah, and there's definite perks of the job. Like, absolutely. I mean, I've gotten to have a one-on-one conversation with Ernest Borgnine.
Yeah, that's fucking rad.
To circle back to that story,
what changed your life?
When I sat there, so like it was right before Ernest Borgnine died. I believe it was 2012. And when I met him, he was 95 years old. Mm-hmm. He would show up exactly on time when he was told to, and he would stay beyond closing time to make sure every single person that wanted to meet him not only got to meet him, but got to talk to him for a minute, sign an autograph. He'd ask about their families and all of this kind of stuff.
So he had a work ethic and a respect for his fans.
He was so extremely humble for a fucking Oscar winner.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, and I won't name names, but where I was... No, I just mean as far as stars. So here's this 95-year-old guy that is punctual and has a blue-collar work attitude. Meanwhile, he is the only guy for at least a 200-mile radius with an Oscar. Mm-hmm. And I can look over at other stars' booths. There was one in particular. There was a young woman actress who felt that her line wasn't long enough and just got up and left in the middle of the day.
Are you fucking serious? You couldn't even be there for the 10 people that did show up to support his bullshit career?
And she was, late 20s, early 30s. This dude is fucking 95 and killing it. And not only that, but it's like, not only has he been in his roster was like ridiculous. Easily over 100 movies. But he was a voice in SpongeBob SquarePants.
He's still making money.
Anytime a little kid would walk by, he would call out in the SpongeBob voice the character to the little kid, and the little kid's eyes would light up, and they'd turn around and they'd look at him.
That's awesome.
And he'd bring him over, and he would stop his line to go shake hands with a little 5-year-old kid.
That's fucking awesome, dude.
So then, not only does he set the highest of standards of anybody I've met there.
Right.
Is, it's like, as I'm escorting him up to his room within the hotel, just kind of making sure that people aren't mobbing him or whatever. He gets into the elevator next to the actor Tom Tolles. Okay. Tom Tolles played Otis in Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer, and he did a whole bunch of other roles as well.
Yeah, he's just been a character actor for years.
But he was starstruck by Ernest Borgnine.
It's Ernest fucking Borgnine. Like you said, he's the only person with an Oscar anywhere near that fucking place.
Yeah, and Tom Tolles was starstruck, acting like a 16-year-old fangirl.
That had to be something to watch.
And he's like, "You're the reason I got into acting." And Ernest is like, "Well, come on up to my room." And they're talking and stuff like that. So I escort them to the room. And, I politely step aside. It's like, "You guys have a good night." They're like, "No, come on in, hang out."
Oh, shit.
So I'm sitting there just on the couch while two amazing actors are just shooting the shit, and then they would occasionally ask me, "What do you think?" And I'm like, "I'm not qualified to be a part of this conversation."
I'm just enjoying the scene.
Yeah. So then when I leave, the hotel had provided Ernest with a complimentary thing of champagne. Right. He's like, "I don't drink anymore. Take this." And I was like, "Are you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, no." He's like, "I haven't drunk for a while." I was like, "Well, do you mind signing it?" So I got him to sign my bottle of champagne that I still have.
Nice. Yeah, that's amazing. That's the kind of thing you drink when you beat cancer.
Yeah.
It's I'm going to crack open this Ernest Borgnine champagne.
Yeah.
Because I don't have malignant tumors.
Yeah.
Sorry, I trailed off to a weird place there.
No. So it was just, like I said, growing up, watching this guy's work, having him go just 1,000 miles beyond expectation and not only that, but he was also talking about his current acting roles. Motherfucker was still working at 95.
Yeah.
He was working right up to the day that he died, and sadly, he died 6 months after I worked with him at Frightmare.
But you would never have gotten that kind of a moment without,
right,
being a volunteer about something you're passionate about. I'm telling you, people, get off your asses and go do stuff.
So that was, like I said, everybody that I have had the opportunity to, work around or for has been super cool, but I truly don't think that anything will top that, just because he was a legend.
Yeah, I met a long time ago at a con. I met Butch Patrick, the dude that played Eddie Munster, and he's a fucking dick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, man, I don't know what his fucking problem was. Maybe he was just having a bad day or something. I don't know. I don't know the guy, but holy shit, he was mean to everyone. He was talking shit to staff. It was a terrible situation.
Yeah.
But anyway, so Ernest Borgnine, awesome guy, and just all-around inspiration.
Yeah, shout out to you, brother. But yeah, so this week...
Great story, man.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
So that, those are the kind of perks that you get, by fucking being on your feet for 30 hours over the weekend and getting yelled at by random people is you get the occasional very cool experience that you wouldn't get otherwise.
Exactly.
And that and working with the other staff is like the reason that I do it anyway.
Because I actually, again, we're going to call these the lost interviews.
Right.
I got a hold of about 4 different staff members, and everybody was just super cool and super excited to be there. One dude even like kind of sort of gave up his smoke break. He didn't really give it up because he was just like, "Can I smoke?" And I was like, "Fuck yeah, you can smoke." Can I smoke?
Right.
And so we went and had a cigarette together. But I mean, like, everyone was really cool. What I kept asking them was what their favorite parts of the convention were. Mm-hmm. And everybody like had their certain things, but it always came back around to the cosplayers, which were legit in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. But fan art. Mm-hmm. There was crazy amounts of fan art, like people wanted signed and stuff like that, or shit that they wanted to give, or however that works. But I mean, it was just like, again, it was so cool to see so many people so passionate about something and, just happy to fucking be somewhere. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So I say, it was an all around very positive experience, a very positive, sweaty experience that smelled like vaguely balls.
Right.
But it's totally worth it every fucking second. Did you see any crazy ass costumes or anything?
Oh,
that caught your eye?
I did.
The Dark Hour dudes for me took it.
Yeah, they were great. And then there's the 13th Street Morgue. Those guys that wander in, they're the ones that are playing like the weird accordion, and they look like mutant cannibals. And
what is that from? I have no idea.
They're a haunt.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Right on.
And
or just like a haunt.
No, they're a haunt that's been around forever. They're down in Red Oak, and they're on a big farmland that supposedly like the barn that they use for an actual part of the haunt is haunted.
Fuck.
Some of the staff members that work Frightmare have worked at it. Actually, a lot of the original staff members, they're all haunt people. Okay. Scott is a haunt guy.
We talked about a little bit about
Jeb,
that on his episode.
who was one of the original guys, he was a haunt guy.
We're going to have Jeb on the podcast, actually.
Yes.
I talked to him a little bit over like email because I didn't know this, but I've been really good friends with his sister for fucking years now.
Okay.
And I kept like hearing his name around the con. Sadly, Jeb couldn't be there. He's dealing with some medical things right now. But very highly spoken of all around. And then, I guess somebody mentioned that I was out there doing Warlord radio stuff to him.
Right.
And he was like, "Holy fuck, how do you know that guy? That's my friend Craig's show."
Right.
Like, so it was kind of a weird little full circle there.
Small world.
But I talked to him a little bit over text, and I think we're going to have him on the show pretty soon.
Yeah. I mean, kind of whenever he can or wants to.
Exactly. So look out for that episode. That'll be a special one, man. I'm looking forward to meeting this guy.
No, he's cool, man. Jeb's the best.
I heard nothing but good things about him. The guy's a fucking legend around there.
Yeah.
But it's just, did you see the dude? First off, I got a photo with the dude dressed like Pop Emeritus.
Oh, yeah?
From Ghost.
Yeah.
Like, he was awesome. I think he was a faceless ghoul one of the other days. I think that was the same dude.
Oh, really? I saw both. I saw both him and the ghoul, so I didn't know if they were the same person or not.
It looked like they were built like the same dude, so maybe. I don't know. But he was really cool. Like, I got a couple of cosplay interviews. I'm going to tell you something about those. If I hadn't screwed the pooch and lost a bunch of interviews, which I guess now we're going to have to talk about, cosplayers are incredibly difficult to communicate with in a crowded room because they're all wearing masks.
Yes.
And they will not take those fuckers off most of the time.
Right.
So, I mean, what I feel like I did this year was learn a lot about what to do next year when I apply for a press pass for this thing. Yeah. I think it's going to run a lot smoother. I'm going to get a lot more out of it and do a lot better.
That's all right. Dip your toe in the water. Like, to me, I think the most important thing is that you win.
I did, and it was a blast, and I want to go again. Yeah. I have a game plan this time. Because last time I was just like, this show's never really done anything like that before. Plus I had you couldn't make it, Jason couldn't make it, so I was all on my own. Shout out to my wife Heather though. She was my ace all weekend. She was the honorary warlord. Seriously, dude. She was my sound tech and she killed it. I was very overwhelmed the first day. Mm-hmm. And then I did all right the second day, and then the third day, I made it out there for about 2 hours, and then I was like, I have to leave. I'm going snowblind here, and my feet hurt.
Yeah,
it was a lot, but I think next time I'm gonna stay hydrated, and I think I can really hit it and get something special. But we're gonna post a bunch. I got a ton of pictures of the cosplayers, so we're gonna post a bunch of those on our page. But I mean, there was some incredible shit. There was a dude in like this rock suit with like these LED green lights all over the inside of it. So he was like this alien looking creature that was like glowing under rock scales.
Nice. I didn't see that one.
That guy, I don't think could actually get into either of the rooms.
Because he's so big,
Yeah, he was very large. And at one point I saw him without his mask on. And I was going to interview him, but he looked like he was about to fucking die. Like he was so sweaty and just breathing super, super, super hard.
I saw some, as, you would expect. I saw some really good Freddy's, Jason's, Michael Myers, Leatherface's. There was a really killer pyramid head costume where the guy had like the full fucking scythe that he's carrying around.
There was also a safe head from Resident Evil.
Yes.
Very legitimate.
Yeah, that was killer.
Did you see the kid on the trike dressed like Jigsaw?
I haven't this year, but I have seen that before.
I know it's not a super original costume.
But no, it's good.
It's fucking adorable every time I see it. I'm just like, you're a little serial killer.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's like you see everything from someone that's just wearing like a little like corpse painty type of makeup to full on, they look like an extra in a movie.
Yes. And there were some very, very, very... there was somebody dressed like the Darkness from Legend. She was like...
Oh, really? That would be cool.
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Yeah, it was like a gender bent cosplay. And I mean, this woman was kind of petite in frame and had this like giant rack of fucking horns on her head.
Right.
And like you could see her kind of holding up her head. And I only saw her for about 2 hours. And then like she fucked off somewhere. I assumed to rest her neck.
Yeah.
Because that shit looked brutal. But it was an awesome. I think we got a picture of that one. And then at one point, I walk into the con floor. And I just hear Carrek at the top of somebody's lungs, and I turn around and it's Jake from the Corpse Paint show.
Oh yeah,
doing the same thing on stilts.
Yep.
And so he took a couple of pictures. I took a couple of pictures with him, and he was gonna do the podcast, but he had to run out for something, and he owes me one, and he said he wants to actually like come out here and do our show.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make you do that, Jay, because I know you listen to this shit.
Yeah.
But
no, we talked about that when I finally saw him, and then we're gonna try to do like a crossover episode where he comes on ours and we go on his.
Yeah, that sounds great. I would love to do that because the Corpse Paint show is quite impressive, folks.
Yes. If you haven't yet, definitely check it out.
Craig and I are very proud of our show. We put a lot of work into this, and we really give it our all. But Corpse Paint show is like. It's a different level. Like, there's a lot of production value. It's a really great show, and I totally would support it anytime.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, Jay's cool as fuck.
Yeah.
He's just a good dude.
Yeah.
And what's weird is I've known him for longer than I thought, but I met him, like, fucking years ago.
Yeah.
It was crazy. But you don't forget a dude on stilts dressed like Satan, you know what I mean? Anyway. But yeah, that was a surreal experience. I kept running into people I knew.
Same.
Like, just a ton of, like, metalheads from around the scene. Just a ton of, like, people that I just know from random places. Like I said, we got an interview with Chris Moeller, who is my very favorite alcoholic. And that's a good interview. But I ran into him, and it was, like, it was just so cool to, like, see everybody out having a fucking good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And, like, just everybody looked like a kid in a candy store. Everybody was just, like, wide-eyed, looking around with a great big smile on their face. Except the goth kids. They looked moody as fuck.
Right.
You could tell they were having a great time.
They're smiling on the inside.
Smiling on the inside, for sure. And, it was just a really fun weekend. You know what I mean? I'm really glad I did it. And, I don't know.
Yeah. It's way too easy to dump a massive amount of money at that because there's so many cool vendors and like even like aside from like autographs and stuff like that, it's just random shit that you can buy.
There was a dude, he was a vendor, but I couldn't get fucking close to him. Maybe he had like a bald head and these giant sideburns and these contacts. And all I could see was like something in the Art of Evil or something in the Master of Evil or something.
Yeah.
But I couldn't get close enough to the dude's booth to tell what the fuck he was doing.
He was, I believe who you're talking about is the guy that they call Father Evil.
Yes.
And he's essentially a cosplayer that for years would just come out to the con dressed up and walk around like all the others.
Okay.
And then eventually he got to the point where he got his own vendor booth so, that he could, take pictures, sign autographs, all, whatever he wants to do. So I don't know him. I haven't met him. I've seen him a bunch of times. So I don't.
He looked impressive. Like he had a nice, you know what I mean?
No, he's got it down. I don't know if it would make sense if he's like an actor and he's done some parts, but I don't know what he's been in.
Okay.
So I can't say for certain. But yeah, I mean, I know that he's essentially like a semi-professional cosplayer.
Okay. Very cool. Okay, I didn't know. Like, I was just but I mean, whatever he's doing it right because it piqued my interest. I was just like, what the fuck is actually going on over there?
Yeah.
But I mean, there was just so many cool things there. You know what I mean? Like, I ran into an entire booth full of like just the most obscure fucking horror movies you could ever find. Like
Charles Band had a table there, and he was there like autographing people that would buy Puppet Master or whatever.
Yeah, in fact, I signed up for his newsletter and got like a free little what's his name? The cowboy from Puppet Master. Damn it. He gave me a little figurine from Puppet Master, and I can't remember which one at the moment because I think my kid immediately absconded with it. But it was just, I don't know, man. It was just such a cool place. Like, it was not what I was expecting. The first thing I did was get lost and end up in the hallway with all of Anthrax.
Right.
And I was just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
And I met Scott Ian in the bathroom. Luckily, I am cool enough not to bother a man while he's taking a piss.
Right.
I took a piss about 3 urinals down from Scott Ian.
You're like, hey, Scott, love Stady for you.
Yeah, I didn't even do that. I was just like a nod. We're both bald and have beards.
Right.
Respect, sir. It was like...
Let's figure this out. What were you expecting? How was it different than what you expected?
When my only experience with conventions really is comic conventions, right?
Uh-huh.
And comic conventions are not super friendly places.
Yeah.
They're... Because people fucking took cosplay, which should be this super fun thing at comic conventions, and have made it into this like competitive, like there's always like costume contests with cash prizes involved, and these guys get super fucking antsy about it.
Right.
Because granted you worked hard on your costume, but remember this is supposed to be fun. You're just being a fucking dick.
Right.
So I don't know, the entire vibe of a Comic-Con is a little different, unless you go to like a collector's con, but that's like a whole different thing. Because mostly nowadays Comic-Cons are just pop culture conventions. They don't even really, they're not even necessarily comic centric anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a lot of like Funko booths. I was expecting a lot more corporate and a lot less private vendor, I guess is what I was expecting. And
I gotcha.
Very much appreciated the private vendor. It felt like going to a real, because I've been going to convention, like comic conventions since I was a child. And I mean, back in the day before comic conventions got super popular, and this is going to sound hipstery, but I mean, it was a lot more like small vendors. Like, this is Marge. She does like fan art of Avengers characters.
Yeah.
And I'm much more likely to buy something like that than, another Funko poster or some shit. And don't get me wrong, I have some Funkos. They're great.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was cool to not see like all of the regular tropes.
Sure.
I guess.
I get you. I mean, it definitely, I agree 1,000%.
Yeah.
I think it makes it more cool, like kind of like you're going to a flea market that caters to horror people.
Yes.
As opposed to you go into like Walmart or Costco or something like that.
Yes, exactly. That is exactly right. You very well said, as a matter of fact. And also just the sheer amount of either legitimate memorabilia, knockoff quote-unquote memorabilia, original designs that are just inspired by, iconic characters and things like that. It was so fucking cool to see all of these different, like, shops, I guess, do their own thing, throw their own spin on shit that you see every day. You know what I mean? Like, you can go into any Hot Topic and find a shirt with a pentagram on it.
Yeah.
But this guy, like, made a shirt that has pentagrams that are pizzas with Mickey Mouse ears or whatever the fuck. And it's just like, that's what I like to see.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And then I went by the carnivorous plant guy's booth, and I was just like, I just think it's fucking sick that you're here.
Yeah.
He was one of the ones I was supposed to get an interview with him, but I lost him at some point in the weekend and could not find him again, where he wasn't like at his booth actively selling shit.
Yeah. There's a booth there that they do special effects like masks and stuff like that. And I talked to him the first year that I started to work, and they're from Houston. And the only fucking time I ever see this guy is at the con, but like every time we see it's like we pick up just like saw him like yesterday. Hey man, what's up? What's going on with the band? Oh, are you still working on that movie? No, that fell through. Oh, okay, that type of thing. So. But
it was that guy had a shitload of talent. I mean, just the detail he put into some of those masks were insane. I scared the shit out of Jack with one of them.
Yeah, nice.
Like I took a picture, and it was did you see the one? It was like it had like an exposed brain and like these crazy ridges over its eyes and these giant fucking teeth. It was just this really gnarly looking thing, and I took a real close up picture of it.
Yeah.
And then I tricked my kid by pretending to laugh at something on the internet, because he always asks me to show him what I'm laughing at on the internet. And I just like showed it, and he just like, it was fucking great.
Nice.
So yeah, shout out to that guy for scaring my kid.
Did you see the like 6 foot tall werewolf?
Yes.
Dude, that was amazing looking.
That was like almost, in my opinion, camera ready. Like I would put that in a movie.
It looks better than a lot of the CGI stuff out there, for
Straight
sure.
up. Yeah, no. Like that was, always a bummer with the Underworld movies.
Yeah.
You remember like the first two, they used like Muppets instead of CG werewolves, and they looked way fucking better. And then
I never really got into Underworld. I don't think it was garbage, but I really couldn't. I don't know.
It was way more on the action side than the horror side. It just used horror imagery. So, I mean, it was just a generic action movie.
Yeah.
But they were fun.
Yeah.
I mean, shit. I'm trying to, the problem is I saw so much cool shit, I'm having trouble zoning in on one thing. Like I said, I got a DVD copy of Deadbeat by Dawn, which I didn't even know they made.
Yeah.
And I love that movie.
You'd be surprised, but you could find it horror cons.
That is one of the most hacky bullshit horror movies, and I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
It's so great. It's like Karate Kid meets The Warriors meets heroin.
Right.
It's a fucking great movie. And then I got this sweet Nosferatu shirt that I'm wearing at one of the booths. It was the same place that Heather got her.
What'd she get?
Heather got these tights that are the carpet from the hotel in The Shining.
Oh, sweet.
And they look awesome, you know what I mean? And she got a ton of comments on them. I'm trying to remember the name of this place, because I know that you can order those tights online, and she got asked about that a million times. It was, do you remember, that big back wall of T-shirts in that main room that you were in?
Right.
There was a booth right across from it that had a shitload of pentagrams everywhere, and I cannot fucking remember the name of the place. She might say it on an interview, so I'll ask her. I don't know. I really wish I could plug this place, because they had some really cool, original clothing. I mean, they had some normal, screen print shit, too, but I mean, they had another pair of tights that were the twins from The Shining. Just they were black tights, and each leg had a different twin on it.
I wonder if it was from Paul Bearer Press.
Yes, that's it. Paul Bearer Press. That's exactly it.
So I stole them for the band also, because they do our t-shirts.
Oh, nice. Okay, right on. Because the t-shirts look fucking great.
So they work out of Austin.
Okay.
They're from Austin.
That's awesome.
And it's the same thing as the Shock Guy, where it's as people are tearing down at the end of the con, I'd walk up and I'd just be like, hey, you ever do anything for bands? Sometimes people are like, yes, and sometimes people are like, no. Yeah. You're like, well, would you? And they're like, yeah, sure, hit me up. And they give me a card, and then I'll hit them up, and it's the same thing. So Paul,
do they do the designs? Or do you come at them with an idea?
Well, they do both.
Okay.
Thus far, we've always just supplied the design, either through an artist or whatever.
I'm curious, where you got? This is a really weird roundabout question, but I love the fucking Acoustic Devil shirt. Where did you get that graphic?
Oh, that one is actually public domain.
Oh, cool!
That I stole.
No, it's great though.
Yeah, it's literally just Dance Macabre.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that's what it was.
And
because that's a famous fucking image,
and that one is literally just public domain. It's been used in a million places, but we just stole it and put the logo on there because it fit.
Fuck yeah.
You know?
No, it's a great t-shirt. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
That's really cool. So Pallbearer Press.
Yes.
Check out Pallbearer Press. They had some really cool shit.
Pallbearer Press is the shit. They do, not only do they have like very cool artwork, but I love their shirts themselves. Like they're not just cheap like Walmart brand or whatever.
They're high quality, like good solid fabric, good screen print on them.
Yeah, they don't fade. I've had some of mine for years, and they're always like very prompt. Like anytime I got them for like shirts, like the guy'd be like, all right, give me, a week to 10 days. And they'd be on my doorstep in a week to 10 days. Like it wouldn't just be like 2 weeks later. I'm like, hey man, how's progress going or anything like that? No, it's like they're on it.
They're like, no, they're
like
not.
I'm like, we're very much small fry and they deal with big shit, but they're nice enough to deal with small fry.
Nice.
So
you gotta love that actually.
So, and same thing with Drink with the Living Dead, Robert.
No, I'm gonna hit those guys up for beer glasses. I think
do fucking sick work, super nice, super professional, and I met him through Frightmare. So
right on. See, the Frightmare is it's creating friendships and just completing lives.
Yeah.
I am at Tobacco Point.
There we go.
And then I want to come back in and we're gonna talk a little bit more. And I'm going to tell you guys what had happened.
We're going to reenact the lost interviews.
Let's not do that.
Oh, okay.
But I did manage to salvage a couple, but I'll let you know what happened. Anyway, we should play like a Silver Tongue Devil song here, do you think? What are you plugging right now?
Well, I mean, you were just talking about Acoustic Devil. We'll play an Acoustic Devil song.
Let's play an Acoustic Devil song right here. We're going to take a break, and then we will be back with more interview and then like actionable content. And then, like I said, I'll reiterate at the end of the show, but be sure to be looking at our actual show page because I'm going to post a ton of fucking cosplayers that we got. We got a ton of pictures. So, all right, Tobacco.
Later.
Opens the wound, both hands pull out the gore. Eviscerating human pigs, profiteering off the poor. Harvesting the masses, placed under subjection. Unchecked corporate tyranny, birthing air out distraction. Subhuman, wretched, scope a filthy fucking pit, an overcrowded jail, charnel house depravity, endless ghetto hell, blood, guts, and cum commingle into a rancid stew. The progeny of refuse rises, the belt is the shot through. Bastard son, seed, the forsaken creation, freak, sitting out the saved, beast, to a world enslaved. Demonic fourth world politics, humanity a crime. The rage and pain linger, rising from the slime. Born of the sad and broken, a blood-free, cruel and mean, slave to its great hunger. victim screams, the unwanted, the ruin, subhuman, wretched, Spawn, monstrous bastard son, seed of forsaken creation, freak, sitting out the saved, beast, to a world enslaved.
And we're back.
Hello.
Didn't you guys enjoy that fresh new track from Acoustic Devils?
There you go.
Fine young men they are.
That was the track that we shot the video for here in Denton.
Yes, that was really fun. Did we talk about that on this show at all? Because we had a fucking blast.
I don't think so, but I don't know.
Let's do it right now.
Okay.
Tell us about what was the video like?
So it was a lot of fun. We burned a lot of shit. We made an enormous bonfire out in a field outside of city limits. And we got a bunch of friends to go out there and act like drunken maniacs. And
we went out to Sam's place, right?
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Sam.
Big Daddy Sid. Thank you.
Big Daddy Sid.
So yeah, he was a wonderful host. That all came about because
I am curious how that ended up happening.
right. Well, so the long version of the story is that we've got a new album that we're finishing up and we're going to put out, and it's going to be half Silver Tongue Devil, half Acoustic Devil.
Which I cannot wait for.
And
I'm very excited about this.
We went into the studio late last year and recorded a little 2-song single that we could put out to the world while we're finishing it up.
Right.
And it was like one Silver Tongue, one Acoustic Devil song. And then, I had talked to Quartz, who's been a guest on the show, professional photographer.
He's the guy that took us out in the woods to go hunt Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And we'll probably do it again, I think.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm like 100% sure we will. But I talked to him, and he was going to help me shoot the Silver Tongue Devil video. And we had a concept for the video, and we had an actor, Scott Reese.
Also
Scott found us a location for that, and everything was set up, and it was going to be great. We had a date set in mind where everybody could be there and all this kind of stuff. And we had this sick location.
Didn't they were gonna like tear it fucking down, right?
So I get a call one day in the middle of the week, and it was super lucky because I happened to have that day off of work. But Scott called me. He's like, "Hey, they're gonna bulldoze this location at the end of the week.
Oh shit!
Do you want to grab a camera and go out there today?"
So it was like, you have to do this now.
Yes.
Oh shit.
So
like anybody that's not in a band out there, like organizing your bandmates to do anything, like even the shit they're supposed to do is fucking hard to do. Getting everybody to show up like fucking out in the middle of nowhere on a random day is damn near impossible.
Yeah. So we were lucky in this sense. Like the location work was just me and Scott. It was going to be me, Scott, and Quartz.
Right.
So I grabbed my camera. I've got a decently nice Canon DSLR, and went out to this location, which was like an hour and a half away. And luckily, Scott and I had been out previously to location scout it.
Okay.
So we had walked the land and all this kind of stuff, and I kind of had a mental checklist of where I could line up shots and all this kind of stuff. And we did it, just him and I.
Right.
And we spent all day until the sun went down.
So it was just you guys? Because I've seen the video. I could have swore the band is in the video. Okay.
Well, the band is, and what I did is I intercut performance footage that I shot at our practice room.
Smart. Gotcha. Okay,
so cool. They didn't have to go out on location.
Okay, well then you took the lazy way out, and I rescind my earlier compliment.
Yeah.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
No, but that's still a miracle that you pulled this shit off.
Yeah. And so because of that, wasn't able to work with Quartz, but I told him, I was like, okay, next video, we're working together. And he's like, well, what do you want to do? And I didn't have a super clear idea, but I was like, we should do something like out in the woods around a bonfire.
Yeah.
And I was thinking of something like kind of like cult paganish.
Witchy and occultish.
And like more like low-key atmospheric while the acoustic is playing.
Right.
And then as soon as I started to set it up and then people started to catch wind and wanted to be involved, and Alex started to invite people, and then all of a sudden it's like people wanted to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay.
It's a party now.
So we kind of changed it to a party in the woods where we're playing in front of a bonfire. That's the short and sweet version.
I don't know if it was a party, but I do know that I drank a fair amount of beer.
Oh, it was a party. It was a party. A lot of people got really wasted, had a great time, built this huge fucking bonfire out on Sam's land, and just had a blast. So yeah,
I got to hang out with those goats.
Yeah, so that's the whole long story of that. I'm sure you guys have tuned out by now.
No, tell me about the epilogue of the video that I wasn't expecting.
So the epilogue was a funny accident that Quartz got because we set everything up. We set the bonfire going and shot like 3 or 4 long run-throughs of the song in different angles and all this kind of stuff.
Did a circle pit around the fire.
A big circle pit around the fire and all this kind of stuff. And Quartz did an amazing job getting awesome looking footage. And then afterwards, we're all just hanging around, drinking, smoking, having a good time. And you grabbed, I think it was John's acoustic.
Guitar, yeah.
And you just start playing some like folk tunes and stuff like that, and then
pirate songs,
and then you launch into some Iron Maiden, and we're going through it, and Hallowed Be Thy Name,
yep.
And you start playing it, and then as soon as it gets to the verse, you just stop because you're like, oh, sorry guys, I only know this on bass, and everybody erupts and they're like, no. So Quartz handed me like this thumb drive that had just like a fuck ton of video and pictures
like
on
B-roll and shit.
And it was my job to edit it down into a manageable video.
Right.
And somewhere in this trove of stuff was like an outtake of you doing that, and I was like, I'm keeping it. So I waited until I let all the credits run and everything like that.
Because I stopped it when the credits started to run. I stopped the video because I thought the video was over. And you were like, no, watch it till the end.
Yeah.
And I was just like, no.
But it's so good.
I was so drunk.
It's so good. That kind of perfectly captures the vibe of the shoot.
It was, yes. It was a very fun shoot. It did very much have that kind of vibe. I got anybody I could out to that thing. It was a blast.
No, everybody that was there did a great job helping, and we greatly appreciate it. They made it look a lot cooler than we could have otherwise. So luckily, we got a sweet looking video out of it. But and overall, response to it has been amazing.
It's a great video. Man.
Bunch of people have been very complimentary. Although I have chuckled to myself. Some comments that I've seen where people are like, what the fuck is this? Because it looks like, if you're just checking it out, it looks like kind of like a black metalish type of video. And, you would expect some screeching vocals and blast beats on drums, but then it cuts and then you see guys with acoustic guitars and then, you start to hear it and it's like, what? So it's it's kind of got that standard response that we get where some people love it and some people just have no clue what's happening.
I feel like that's where you live, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's where you thrive.
That is pretty much the standard response that we get for anything we do, where it's like some people just really kind of like get it.
Yeah.
And then some people do not at all, which is also great because I love both responses.
It is funny watching somebody that doesn't get you guys just be like, what is happening on stage right now? And I'm like, amazing music. Don't even know, dude. This is great shit.
Well, thank you. But yeah, so we can, sometimes we can judge a show. Sometimes like a show will lean heavily one way, like will lean like they don't like, what? What? You know, especially the acoustic double one. Like we definitely get that with Silvertongue because, you know, it is, to me, it seems very simple. Like we're obviously a metal band.
Yes.
But within that is, we are not clearly a death metal band, a thrash metal band, a whatever.
Just kind of extreme metal.
Yeah, it's kind of weird and it's different enough that it doesn't fall into easy subcategorization.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like, you know, Alex has got this larger than life personality and John's spending half the show out in the audience and I'm waving weapons around on stage and stuff like that.
Revolving door drummers.
Yeah. So, little Spinal Tap is there. We haven't blown anybody up on stage yet.
You have not. And all of your drummers are still cool with you guys.
Working on it, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's funny because like when people see Acoustic Devil, it is very much that. It's like they either get it, or this is just so far over their head they have no fucking idea what to do with it. And I love that. I love watching those fucking reactions out of people.
It is fun. Like we recently played a show down in Dallas for a Mike Fest benefit show. Mm-hmm. So for people that don't know, Mike Fest was a member of the Pit Bulls and he died suddenly. And he had kids, and so, you know, the scene has been kind of rallying behind and trying to help his family out and give him some money where they can.
Yeah.
So he's had a few benefit shows set up, and we played one of them as Acoustic Devil. And kind of the same thing where it's like we played and, you know, you could hear like half of the audience like cheering between songs, like, yeah, and then the other half was like towards the back, just staring with arms crossed. And
this is a joke. It's like, no, we're fucking awesome.
Yeah. And it's like, why are you screaming to acoustic music? And it's like, 'cause that's what I do.
Yeah, man. Why aren't you?
Yeah. But yeah, so that's kind of the long roundabout story of all of that.
Well, okay. Well, so I hope you enjoyed that song. There's a music video. Go check it out.
Right.
We are now... the reason that we're still talking is I initially had 50 minutes of interviews set up for you guys. And then through no fault of my own, actually it's all my fault. It's completely my fault. I fucking screwed the pooch so hard. I lost like 3 of the interviews. So what was...
Greatest interviews you ever heard.
Dude, you don't even know. I killed it. One person cried at the end.
Yeah.
It was like, man, we really worked some shit out.
Yeah. It was heavy.
It was really heavy, and it was just lost in the ether now.
Right.
So what I'm gonna present to you guys is basically just like the random shit that I did get, and then a couple of interviews that were like solid, good, like 15-minute interviews.
And we're gonna put those. They're gonna be combined in this episode.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like after you're done listening to this part, you know, stay tuned because those interviews will be part of it. Because that's really what we're trying to do is just give a backdrop to what we experienced while we were there, and some of the sights and sounds and smells and stuff like that. So
and it was initially, and I got a lot of staff interviews, and none of those made it onto the fucking. I got a dude that had a backpack full of dead animals, and I got a guy that stood in line to see Bruce Campbell for 3 hours.
Right.
But both of them were great, and I really appreciate them being on the show and everything. But I had a lot more. So basically what I'm going to do now is like going to kind of interview Craig a little bit more, I guess.
Right.
About like...
well, there's we don't want to belabor anything, but there is a little more to just kind of go over and mentally remember from what we did because... kind of the nature of what I do when I'm there, I'm like fucking busy.
You're busy as hell,
the whole time. So
I
it's
like my experience with you that entire weekend was like, there's Craig, high five, brother.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit of a slap hug, all right, peace.
Yeah.
And that was it. Like,
And
I
that
saw
was-
you for minutes.
Yeah, and that was how I saw everybody that I knew there.
Yes.
It's like, and I saw a lot of people that I knew there. So, but you know, it's kind of like I'll look over my shoulder, like, oh, there's a cool cosplayer or something like that, and that's kind of it. So I don't get to see like everything that's happening really, except for like before the floor opens and there's nobody there anyway.
Yeah.
So you get to see more of the details of what's going on, and I'm like stuck in place, like listening to people freak out.
Yeah, and making sure that nobody's going to stab Joe Bob Briggs or something, yeah.
So I will say Joe Bob Briggs was super cool.
Really?
And
I'm glad that you say that, because
Yes.
like I watch his show and I'm like, I really hope that guy's cool.
yeah, and I love his show.
It's great. It's
So-
an amazing show. It's right up my alley. It's just, you know, like these exploitation films. I fucking love it.
For anybody that doesn't know Joe Bob's show, he's got a show on Shudder, which is a streaming platform.
Horror app. Honestly, if you don't
Get it.
know what Shudder is, get it. Like,
Get
look it up. It's,
Google
it's
it.
pretty great.
Google it and get it. His show is called The Last Drive-In. He's been doing. I didn't know his full backstory.
He's been doing this kind of thing for a very long
Since the
time.
80s.
Yeah, since the 80s. In fact, I saw Howard the Duck on his original show for the first time, which isn't even a horror movie. I'm not sure what it was doing on there, but it was so
I
great.
believe, and I could be wrong, but I do seriously think that was the first Marvel movie.
Well, okay. Check this out. There was a Fantastic Four movie that was made before Howard the Duck that was so fucking bad that Marvel paid the studio
to dump it. Yeah.
And you can. I've seen it though.
Yeah.
It's so fucking horrible. But
I've seen clips of it.
I believe Howard the Duck, and I might be wrong. There might have been a really shitty Spider-Man movie that came out first, but I don't know that
I
for a
don't
fact.
think so. I'm gonna go with I think I'm right on that one. Comic book
You
nerds, you can beat me
actually.
up for being wrong, but
Yeah, now let us know if we're not right about that one, but I'm pretty sure the first Marvel movie was either it was Howard the Duck or there was a mid 80s, early 90s Captain America.
yeah,
where
and
he wore the
I know
big
about
busted
that,
suit.
but I think, and then again, I think that Howard the Duck was first.
I think you're right. No, I because Howard the Duck was like mid 80s, and I want to say that Captain America movie was like 91.
Yeah.
So yeah, holy shit. Yeah, I think you might be right. I think Howard the Duck is the first Marvel movie, and it is outstanding.
Yes.
Well, let me tell you,
Better than Endgame.
Leah Thompson almost fucks a duck. Did you say better than Endgame? He's trying to get white on me. God damn. Better than Endgame. Holy I want to make a shirt that just has a picture of Howard the Duck on it that says better than Endgame. Fuck. Sorry, I wasn't expecting that.
No,
did you see Endgame?
I haven't.
It's good.
No, I'm
It's
sure
good.
it is.
I know you're not real big on the superhero movies. Did you watch the...
You know, it's not necessarily that.
It's just they're all the same.
Yeah, it's what like it's just not the market that I'm in, right? Is
Right.
like they're just a little too squeaky clean PG-13 for my taste.
I feel that.
And if I was like a teenage kid, I'd be all up in that shit.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
But you're like trying to see tits and guts and
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel that. I totally feel
So,
that.
like, there are some comic book movies I actually really love. Like, back in the 80s, Wes Craven did Swamp Thing.
Fuck yeah.
I
I actually just
love
watched that the other day.
That movie.
I've seen it so many times, but I hadn't watched it as an adult, and I didn't realize that Ray Wise plays fucking Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
Which is crazy to me. And the second one's even more fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Someone with Heather Locklear.
Yeah.
But man, Swamp Thing is fucking great. Have you seen anything about this new Swamp Thing show?
I've seen the trailer.
Okay, you know that this straight up, they were like, it takes place in the DC universe, but this is not a superhero show. It is a horror show.
Yeah.
So I think I'd be curious to see what your thoughts on Swamp Thing are when it comes out.
I'd be interested to see it because something like that would intrigue me. Like I said, it's not that I'm like, oh, fuck superheroes. No. It's not that. It's just kind of the CGI Michael Bay overload PG-13 thing to me is played out.
Right.
And
no, I agree. I have a child and he can't see tits and guts.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's like, but if you're, I loved Logan.
Logan was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Logan's probably one of the best comic book movies ever made.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Like, I legitimately love it. And I haven't...
Coming off the heels of 2 really fucking terrible Wolverine movies, like that's... Or 2 or 3.
And I tuned out because they started to get terrible, and I was like, I kind of stopped keeping up with. I thought
Logan
the first couple of X-Men
excellent.
movies were really cool.
Yeah.
Then I kind of tuned out, and then I kept hearing good stuff about Logan, and then when I checked out, I was like, fuck, this is a good fucking movie. This is what I would want a comic book movie to be.
Which is what the DC Universe tried to do, but did not execute well at all.
Yeah.
They really... I could go off on fucking Batman versus Superman all day.
Please.
I've been waiting since I was 8 years old to see that movie. It sucks so fucking bad. I get them wanting to make an edgier... universe.
Right.
Batman doesn't kill, though. That's like the fundamental part of his mythology. That's like saying fucking Hercules has noodle arms.
Right.
Like, it takes so much, and every now and then there's some hotshot asshole that comes out every decade. It's like Batman's got guns and he's murdering people now. And it never fucking works because that's not fundamentally what Batman is as a character, you prick. There's still ways to make Batman hardcore and violent as fuck without him just like shooting people. You know what I mean? That's lazy in my opinion. Because Batman will break all your toes and smash your ribs and pulverize your fucking, sternum into powder, but you're still alive. You're just made for the rest of your life.
And also wasn't that kind of like a key part of his weakness to the villains is that they could always get Batman because he wouldn't kill someone.
Exactly.
So they could use like a hostage situation or they could, steal someone he loves or whatever because they knew that he wouldn't risk killing a civilian.
Right.
That he was always going to, be the protector. Like that was the
if
thing.
If anyone died on his watch, then everything went horribly wrong. You know what I mean? It was to the point where it was like detrimental to his
the idea
psyche.
that he goes like full vigilante, like
and just starts icing motherfuckers like he's Frank Castle. Yeah. There was as soon as that whole scene started, because the first thing he does is just completely mow over somebody in the Batmobile, and I was just like, the fuck is this shit?
Right.
Because, oh my god, fucking Batman versus Superman is so bad, and then...
Well, that's kind of what
fucking Martha plot point.
Yeah, oh...
Jesus Christ, dude. Jesus, that was insulting.
Yeah.
I was just like,
What?
Your mom's name is Martha, too?
Yeah.
We're best friends. Like, oh, god damn it.
Yeah.
Everything about that movie was fucking terrible.
Well, I kind of thought that... Superman had the same problems, or what was it? Man of Steel is because
Man of Steel was just like Superman is Jesus,
right? Yeah, but he can destroy an entire fucking city and all of the skyscrapers while fighting, Zod, and no problem. And it's like,
no, I did like that angle. I always like it when comic books. Because every now and then they'll have stories about this where collateral damage is a fucking thing.
Right.
They even did that in the Avengers movie in Age of Ultron. They blew up that fucking embassy on accident trying to avert a bigger crisis. And they had to deal with the fallout of that, which is what Civil War was. I like it when they acknowledge that stuff, especially because Superman... that was the thing about Man of Steel is Zod did so much physical damage to the fucking planet.
Right.
Like he had that giant machine just DPing the fuck out of Earth.
Right.
Like on either side, terraforming the fuck out of it, and then like they start fighting, and it's just all lasers and muscles like through the most populated areas of America.
Right.
Busting down all of their fucking product placement. Like it was, I don't know, man. Man of Steel, though, was still better than Batman versus Superman.
Well, I won't argue that point. I'm just trying to say I was similarly let down by Man of Steel.
No, I agree.
I just, for most comic book movies, I think the format is better suited to cartoons. And I love cartoons.
Well, because the animated DC movies are fucking great and dark and compelling and violent shit.
I thought that The Incredibles did a better job of doing that same plot line of what you just described. I thought Spawn, Todd McFarlane's Spawn cartoon, was one of the
HBO
best
one,
ever. Yeah,
so fucking great.
It was perfect. Like,
so good.
You know, even if they got the go ahead to do like a hard R-rated movie, which I know he wants to do,
they're talking to it, and Michael High White still wants to be Sparrow.
I don't think that even if they had their ideal circumstances, it would be as good as the cartoon.
I don't think
Same
so.
thing with Batman. Like the Batman cartoons with the
series
Joker.
is fucking amazing.
Yeah,
it's one of the best Batman properties ever created.
Yeah,
like hands down in my opinion. And you know how they got the look of that show? Because you remember that show was so like dark and gothic and deco looking, right?
Yeah.
They animated on black paper.
Yeah.
And
Genius.
So everything else that you got was all highlight. So those shadows were so natural and organic looking. It was fucking genius. Oh my god, that show's great.
Yeah.
And when I read Batman comics, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice in my head.
Yeah.
Because you know how like everybody has their Batman. And that's my Kevin Conroy will always be my Batman for sure.
Who's your Joker?
Mark Hamill.
Yeah.
It is. I have a great story because you know I'm a big animation nerd because my ultimate goal, podcasting listeners, so if you know anybody that can hook a brother up, holler at me, is I want to do voice acting.
Right.
I do very little, like I do kind of commercials and stuff here and there, but I'd love to like get my hands on like a Funimation show or like an actual
or
cartoon.
like porn loops or whatever.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll do porn. Are you kidding? You think I wouldn't dub porn? I absolutely dub porn. Oh my god, it feels so good.
Right.
Like what? I made him Swedish.
Right.
The coolest thing I heard about the audition that Mark Hamill did for the Joker, because all of the casting for all of those DC and Warner Brothers shows at that time with like Animaniacs and all that shit was really huge.
Mm-hmm.
Was this woman named Andrea Romano, who is a fucking casting genius.
Mm-hmm.
She is just, if it deals with animation, she knows everything about it, and she's fucking amazing at it. So Mark Hamill comes in to audition for Joker, does an audition, says it's okay, and you know he leaves. And then she was like, and then he came back about 5 minutes later, and he was like, I think I can do better than that, because that's exactly how Mark Hamill talks. Because have you ever met him?
I haven't met him. No, I've just heard interviews.
Ask him one thing about Star Wars. I'll just be like, I don't want to talk about that. Did you know I collect lunchboxes? Like he's just this fucking great dude. But so he comes in and he's like, I can do better. And she said he did better, like the voice was a little more on point, but she still wasn't sold on it until at the very end he did that laugh. Mm-hmm. And she's like, how it starts off real slow and menacing, and and then it like builds up into this just fucking maniacal cackle.
Yeah.
And she was like, that's it right there, because the first Joker that was in the pilot season is not Mark Hamill. And then after that episode, every appearance of the Joker is Mark Hamill.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, Andrea Romano nailed comic book character voices so well that a lot of times when I read the comic books, those are the voices that I hear in my head. Mm-hmm. Because preceding the Batman the Animated series, and there was also a Superman animated series that came out like a couple of years later, they did this show called Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
Which was underrated. In my opinion, there were really great stories that actually went over the span of like 4 and 5 episodes. So you got this really good swooping arc. Mm-hmm. It was not afraid to push boundaries and get a little rough, even for the kids and shit. And it was voiced so fucking well that like they had Phil Lamar, who does the voice for like Hermes on Futurama, and he's the dude in Pulp Fiction that they shoot in the back of the car on accident.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He's the Green Lantern, and like when I read the Jon Stewart Green Lantern as the black guy, that's the voice I fucking hear in my head. Like, it was just so fucking well done.
I do, like I said, to me, just like that style of artistry better suits comics.
Agreed.
You know, it is like, I think
it looks more organic than just a giant CG Josh Brolin with a shiny glove.
Right.
I totally concede that. Yeah.
Now, I would say that probably my favorite comic movie, like actual movie, is Sin City.
Mine too.
Like, I think it's genius what they pulled off with that.
I absolutely agree.
Like, because that is almost literally a comic that they brought to life.
Yes, they like almost frame for frame.
Yeah,
it was insane how well.
And I was like, well, you just can't top that.
And the casting was excellent.
Yeah,
You know what I
and
mean?
the visuals were stunning. Like the acting was top notch. Like everything. Like
It
literally,
made
like
Mickey Rourke an actor again.
oh, he's one of my favorite actors.
I know.
Like, don't get me wrong, dude is probably legit crazy.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he has gone through some shit, obviously.
Bit
but
press-drunk.
some of his movies, let me put it this way: 3 of his movies are in my top favorite movies of all time.
Which ones?
Angel Heart,
Yes.
Johnny Handsome.
I have not seen that.
Action movie from the 80s done by Walter Hill, who did like 48 Hours and a whole bunch of other amazing movies.
Love it then.
It's amazing.
Okay.
It's basic.
Johnny Handsome.
Okay. It's basically about a guy that's the Elephant Man, who's a career criminal, who while he's in jail, is elected to do this crazy experimental surgery that can make him more normal. And he goes through it. Well, his parole officer is Morgan Freeman, and Morgan Freeman is this hardened badass who doesn't for a minute think that Mickey Rourke's character is actually changed. He thinks that he's still a scumbag.
Okay.
And everybody else is like, you got to give him a chance. It's like this is his first chance in life.
This is the only time he's ever been normal.
Right. And I won't give anything away, but it's that dynamic between Johnny trying to take advantage of this special situation where he gets reconstructive surgery and gets out of a life of crime versus the cop that thinks that there's no fucking way he's getting out of a life of crime.
Oh man, I'm gonna have to check that out.
And it is so good. It is absolutely, I think, one of the best 80s action movies.
Awesome. I love, because you know I love shit like that.
So those 2 and then Sin City.
Okay. Yeah, no, Sin City's fucking excellent. I would also, this may not ring so true for you, but the Darren Aronofsky, The Wrestler.
Oh, I love that movie.
Fucking excellent movie.
Yeah.
And it like really paints a very vivid picture about what life is like for some of those guys.
And he did a great job. And not only that, but he looked like he got jacked for that.
He did get super jacked for that.
So, but no, he did a great job. Like, he's a legit great actor.
Also, Marissa Tomei in The Wrestler. Holy fuck, dude. I didn't think she was like, I didn't have those reactions towards that woman when she was like 20. And then she played like a MILF stripper in that movie, and I was just like, this is absolutely working for me. Way to go, girl. You do you. But yeah, it's just, Mickey Rourke is a fantastic actor when he wants to be. It's just, he's probably a little shy upstairs a bit. But I mean, it wasn't even not even just Mickey Rourke. I mean, Bruce Willis's Hardigan.
Oh yeah,
in Sin City was. I mean,
dude, there's literally Sin
that
City
movie
is
fired on all cylinders for what it was trying to do.
Like they fucking nailed it. Like I don't care like what anybody else does. Like they're probably not going to get close to touching that.
No, I don't think so. You would have to first off, you would have to find something as visually appealing as Sin City was in the first place,
right?
Which is what made it special. And then you have to like not only nail the style, you have to nail the vibe. You have to basically recreate the artist's vision.
Yeah.
And I mean, because Robert Rodriguez did that so well with Frank Miller on Sin City.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you watch, Frank Miller tried to do the Spirit movie the same way, and it was still cool looking.
It was good, but it wasn't nearly as good as Sin City.
It really wasn't. And then they also kind of tried. I feel like Zack Snyder tried to hit that vibe when he did The Watchmen.
Right.
And it's still like, The Watchmen was good. I did not hate The Watchmen. They took a lot of liberties from the original story, which, as you know, my specific brand of comic nerd kind of pissed me off. Right. Especially when you're putting it up against Sin City, where they took like no liberties.
Right.
It was a lot different, but I mean, everybody tried to do that edgy comic thing after Sin City did,
right.
And nobody came close.
No.
And I'm with you. I don't think. It's going to be a long time before anybody finds, first off, a property that special again.
Right.
And then actually pull it off is like a whole other story. Because even the second one kind of sucked.
Yeah.
Like, did you see it?
I did. I liked it.
I liked it too.
But then again, it's hard to compare something that's like legitimately great to something that's pretty good. It does suffer in comparison. Exactly. But I did enjoy.
I enjoyed it too, but again.
I enjoyed The Spirit, which I feel kind of got like unfairly dumped on.
I agree.
And then I did enjoy the sequel. They're definitely worth watching. But the one is Sin City, for sure.
I agree.
And that's kind of like my issue with the modern movies, both DC and the Marvel ones is I'm keep waiting for one that's going to take the gloves off and just go all in.
Yeah.
And it's
Logan
like
kind of did.
Logan did, and I really really liked it. But the other ones, like, I get it, man. It's like people are going to see spectacle and they invested in the characters and they want to see how it works out. That's great. I am not hating on shit because I love horror movies, so it's real easy to pick on what I like.
Oh, dude, if like Pumpkinhead 14 came out tomorrow, you'd be in line for that shit.
Oh yeah, like I own all of the Friday the 13th.
That's a lot of fucking movies.
Even Jason Takes Manhattan. That was part 8. So
I've seen that one.
I'm not hating on anybody. I'm just, my preference is that I like the dark side of things.
Yeah.
And the modern comic book movies that are coming out right now are not.
No, they're very saccharine. They're very sweet. Yeah. They're very.
Well, they're family oriented.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is cool for families.
Yes. I agree. And I'm also looking forward to. I like the darker aspects of comic books, but very few people do it right. I felt like the TV shows, because there was a Constantine TV show that came out with Matt Ryan as Constantine.
I never saw it. I did see the movie, but I haven't seen the show.
The movie's shit. I mean, it's fun, I guess, but it's not an accurate depiction of that character whatsoever. First off, he's British and he's an alcoholic, not a chain-smoking Californian with black hair. Matt Ryan pretty much embodied the role. The problem with that show is it was on network television. And so it got as dark as it possibly could have. And I give it like mad props for that. Because I mean, it dealt with like Satan and demons and like all this shit. But it was still too, like if that show had been on HBO, it could have truly been great.
Yeah.
It honestly needed more tits and guts.
Yeah. Most things do.
Yeah, exactly. They also did, they're doing a Doom Patrol, or they did a Doom Patrol show for the DC streaming network or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah.
And it's pretty good. It's also the Doom Patrol is basically, these guys aren't even superheroes so much as just like freaks with nowhere else to turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then they get into misadventures from there, but these are incredibly dark storylines, incredibly violent, lots of tits and guts. And so that gives me hope about the new Swamp Thing show.
Yeah.
Because Swamp Thing there was this in the late 90s, early 2000s, there was this group of, it was like the adult titles for DC. They were called DC Vertigo. Mm-hmm. Hellblazer was one of them. That's John Constantine's title. Swamp Thing was one of them. The Sandman was one of them. Preacher, I believe, was Vertigo. There's a ton of shit. Mm-hmm. But basically, if Neil Gaiman gave them a comic book, they fucking published it.
Right.
And those stories got so dark, and they're starting to move in that direction, especially on their network stuff. But on the other end of that, they did a Teen Titans show. Like, and you're familiar with who the Teen Titans are, right? Like,
yeah, vaguely.
They're basically a team full of like teenage superheroes.
Right.
Well, this show is hugely popular to children. Like there was a couple of animated shows have come out, and those shows are hugely popular to children. And it's always been kind of a kid-oriented title. And DC took that title and like made it super mature. And it's fucking not good at all. Like, it doesn't fit with those characters.
Yeah.
Where the same way that, like, Doom Patrol or Hellblazer or Swamp Thing would.
Yeah.
I would love for this DC network to pick up Matt Ryan as Constantine and do me a fucking, like, legit-ass Hellblazer show.
Yeah.
I'd fucking love that. I don't think it'll happen, though. I think he just joined DC's Legends of Tomorrow on the WB, which is very depressing. But, because the Arrowverse shows, like all the Flash, Green Arrow, all that shit, those are, again, more family-oriented, like, typical superhero shit.
Right.
But there is stuff out there, if you go hunting for it, that is fucking good. I really recommend. I think you'd like Doom Patrol.
Okay.
Doom Patrol is almost, like, Lovecraftian in its approach to misanthropic superheroes.
Sweet.
And then... yeah, like I'm super excited for Swamp Thing. So there are those adult titles, but you have to do them right, and you can't make it contrary to the source material.
Yeah, that's a big part of it is that, it's like and look, Hollywood or whatever, the studios or whatever, like they're notorious, like they butcher books forever.
Oh, constantly.
Same thing with comics, and that's the tough thing for a fan. It's like, because if there's like a book that you love or a comic that you love, you're like, yeah, I'd love to see that. oh man, I hope they don't fuck it up. And it's that weird kind of like
Yeah.
balance of
I'm kind of worried about that with the Swamp Thing, and then it's not a comic book, but Good Omens is about to drop on Amazon. They're doing like a whole Good Omens show with David Tennant's playing the demon character, and Michael Biehn. Yes, Michael Biehn
Sweet.
is playing the angel character, and it looks really good.
Yeah.
But I know that story like the back of my fucking hand. I've read that book so many goddamn times, and I'm the kid that's going to be sitting in the front row, like with my arms crossed, like, you better not fuck it up!
Yeah.
Don't fuck up my stuff! I like my stuff the way it is!
That's right.
So I am worried about that one a little bit, but I think it'll probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. Just bitching about stuff.
No, it's all good. It's all part of being a fan. I mean, it's like we wouldn't get so riled up about this stuff if we weren't, as fans, like invested in it. I mean, that is the reason that people get like all riled up about like Star Wars and Marvel and DC and everything.
That's why I kind of stopped. I mean, maybe I don't know. I stopped bagging on people for their fandom. Yeah. For the most part, like within reason. Yeah. Like if you come at me wearing a Nickelback shirt, I'm gonna fucking say
I like
something.
to good-naturedly tease.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna like legit make someone feel shitty because they like something. I mean, it's like, look, like a band that I clearly do not like Five Finger Death Punch.
Yeah.
Is like definitely not my thing. But I'm not also the type that's like, man, fuck anybody that listens to that band. It's like, you know what? It's like, you don't know where that will lead them to something else.
Yeah.
And it's
very,
like,
very
we
true.
all like have bands that we liked that, maybe you could look back.
I own so many Korn albums, dude.
Yeah, like
so many
like
Korn
you could look
albums.
back that the elitist that started with Cannibal Corpse is like, that's bullshit.
That's bullshit. It's
You
not
know,
that
and
stuff.
it's like, I don't think that's the right way to go about it. It's like, look, if someone's favorite band is Slipknot or Five Finger Death Punch or Disturbed, right on, man. Just keep looking is all I would say.
Yes.
It's like, it doesn't have to end there.
Yes.
But, if that's where you're at now, cool. Because to me, that's better than if someone is into like EDM or pop or something like that. Something that literally has no substance whatsoever. Is like,
damn hot take there. I feel where you're coming from.
No, I will preach all day that if you're doing pop music or electronic or whatever, there is zero substance to that. Like, you might dig it, that's great. But if a machine's doing the work for you, you're not a musician.
Agreed.
So it's like, even if guys are bashing out music that I don't like, even if it's like country or something like that, if they're bashing it out and if they're doing it, well, at least you're listening to music.
Yeah. Because I will say one of the few exceptions to like EDM, I guess, is like there are like really weird like dark wave goth bands.
Dude,
I would say would be the exception to that rule.
But
those guys are living a fucking lifestyle, man.
But let me be clear, I'm not bagging on people that enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, people can enjoy it. Like, I really like.
Oh, you're bagging on people that make it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It is like, I really like movie scores. I really like listening to like John Carpenter movie scores. That's electronic music. But to me, that's a little bit different. Like, dude's playing a keyboard. He's like trained on piano.
Yeah.
Like,
there's composure there.
Yeah. Or like an Ennio Morricone score,
rather,
or something like that. It's like, I love that stuff. It is like. But
the only reason
if you're talking about essentially like rave or club music, go fuck yourself.
No, I'm kind of there with you. I really, it's hard to listen to. It's like, what kind of drugs do I need to get into this?
Well,
I'll do them.
that's just the whole thing. I mean, it's like, without drugs is entirely pointless. And I'm not.
It's
like,
always weird when you meet that guy that's like straight edge and listens to dubstep, and I'm like, I don't really know where you're coming from, bro. Or like, he's wearing like a fucking Portishead shirt. He's never gotten high.
It's like seeing a skunk in daylight. It's like, just walk away because there's something wrong with them.
Yeah, that's not right. This is something is wrong here. This is a crime against nature.
Right.
Anyway, I guess is there anything else you'd like to wrap up with before we give them this fucking hot mess? I do promise this. If I am lucky enough to get into Frightmare next year, shit will be a lot more cohesive. It'll be a lot. I was totally freestyling it this year. I did my best and it did not go great.
Oh,
but
I'll be optimistic.
I
think it went well because it was an introduction to what's going on. Because, I mean, it's like, look, it's like, I told you about it. Scott came in on the show. He told you about it. Cade from Stop the Stigma came on the show and he told you about it, and it was still way different than what you expected.
Absolutely. I did not. It was not anything that I had prepared for.
And so for people that haven't had the opportunity to go to it, or whatever,
it's one of those experiences.
This is kind of like an inside look for people that haven't gone to it, or people can compare stories for people that have. It's definitely an experience. Let's put it that way, and it's an experience that's worth having if you are into this kind of thing even a little bit.
Yes, for you and I who tend to skew darker, it was a fucking wonderful experience. Like, I enjoyed the fuck out of, whether we go back as Warlord Radio next year or not, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
I had a fucking great time. I'm gonna bring way more money.
Right.
I did not bring enough money.
Yeah.
And I spent a lot of money on pizza tickets.
Right. Man, I'm hungry.
It was this thing, but yeah.
I tell you what's really funny to see is really, really, really hungover cosplayers.
Oh, yeah. Didn't have to put all that hot shit back on.
Oh, man. There were some people that were looking rough by Sunday morning.
Yes, sir.
Which was hilarious. Because I was there, too. I mean, I was fucking exhausted because I was a retard and played a show in the middle of all that.
That's right. I didn't make it out that night because I was just beat.
Well, you played a show on Friday,
I played a show Friday
you're a
night.
retard, too.
Yeah, I am. Well, next year, again, no shows planned in the middle of all of this.
Right.
Because, I played the show, and I was supposed to come back, and then by the time I got out of that bar, you were like, dude, I'm done. I'm going home. This is a no-go.
Yeah.
And I was like, fine. And then so I show up the next day, and I probably got there about 10:30 or 11 the next day. So not super early, but not super late. And then I was only there till about 7. And then I was like, I'm dead on my feet. I'm going to fall out. Because it was a lot. But it was so fun. It was, however, very hot in there. I don't know how a lot of those cosplayers did it. Because they were wearing fucking rubber turtlenecks and shit. Did you see the guy dressed in head to toe xenomorph costume?
Yes.
Dude, he looks so hot.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure he lost 10 pounds in sweat.
Yeah, well, at one point, dude, okay, so I took a picture with Jay Gavitt.
Yeah.
And he's in all of his Satan shit. And we're both throwing up the devil horns and shit. And he's got his head down right here. And he's growling at me. I look over and there's just sweat dripping from his face onto my shirt. And I was like, ha gross.
Right.
It was awesome, though. What happened when I ran into Jay, the funny thing is that Heather didn't know I knew that guy.
Oh, okay.
And she'd seen him around before, but she didn't. I walked in just, Carrek, what's up? Right. And I was just like, oh shit.
I know that guy.
Yeah. She was like, you know the fucking Satan on stilts? I'm like, yeah, actually, I met him years ago.
Nice dude.
Great guy. We're gonna swap podcasts.
Yeah.
But So without further ado, I guess we're gonna throw these. This just is a mess.
Yeah. So have you watched any of the Joe Bob last drive-ins on Shudder?
Oh yeah. I'm trying to think of, because I watched one the other night. I don't remember the name of the fucking movie. Shit.
They're great.
No, all of them. I think I watched The Swamp Monster.
I love them. The one that I recently watched. So I watched 2 just recently because after. Because I knew about Joe Bob Briggs before. I had seen.
Have you read his book?
I haven't.
It's really good.
I've read some of his articles though. Yeah. He's actually a good writer. He's very smart, very smart dude actually.
Yes.
But I knew him from the days when he was on TNT, like Monster Vision and stuff like that. And I would always enjoy his commentary, but it would always piss me off that TNT would edit their movies.
Yes.
Because if I'm watching Friday the 13th Part 6, I want to see
I know there's
blood
tits there. You owe me tits.
So I would watch his commentary and then change the channel when they'd butcher the movie aspect. But it's really cool now that they can show unedited.
And Shudder's so great for that. You know what I mean? It's the perfect place for that show.
Yeah. And but I recently watched the one that I watched Hills Have Eyes.
I watched that.
And then his commentary on Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I didn't see the Texas
Chainsaw Massacre. That one was so good. I recommend anybody out there right now go watch the movie. I don't care if it's the 100th time you've watched it, watch it again, and listen to his running commentary. Throughout the breaks about Texas Chainsaw Massacre, because it's so good and so informative. You know, in his estimation, and I'm inclined to agree, he says that Chainsaw Massacre is the greatest drive-in movie ever made.
I agree with that statement.
I would absolutely agree that it's one of...
The original Texas Chainsaw Massacre is fucking special.
Oh, yeah. I would absolutely agree that it's one of the greatest movies ever made of any genre. And I'm not saying that ironically.
That's a fucking statement, man. No, I know you're not. You look dead serious right now.
I'm 100%. I would compare it to anything else out there that is top tier. Godfather, whatever.
Okay, I was just about to say you would compare it to Godfather, but you straight up said that, so all right.
I 100% would, and the reason that I would is because I think that you always have to judge whatever art it is on its own merits.
Yes.
So if you're going to judge a heavy metal album, it has to be judged on it being a heavy metal album, not on it being a jazz album.
Yeah.
You don't say that Painkiller is piece of shit because it's bad at jazz. No, you judge it is it a good metal album? In this case, it's an amazing metal album, therefore it's great.
So much like Sin City fired on all cylinders for a comic book movie, you believe, and I'm not disagreeing with you.
No, I know. Yeah.
You're saying that Texas Chainsaw Massacre fires on all cylinders for a horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay. I will agree with that statement.
I think that what they accomplished is something that no one could recapture, and I don't care if they had $200 million to do it, is that they created this nightmarish documentary but still very carefully crafted reality.
It was so real. You know what I meant? Like, it was tangible. It felt like you could touch the shit in the shot.
Well, and some of the amazing details that he goes into when he's describing it is he's talking about how, like, just the extreme reactions that, like, for the first, like, decade that the movie was out, that
there was a group of censors that just, like, walked out.
Yeah, well, like people would just freak out, and they were just mortified by what they saw. And it wasn't until the movie had been out, like, almost, like, 20 years before people kind of got on that it was funny. And that there was, like, this really dark strain of humor that were into it, like when Grandpa's trying to club the girl over the head with the hammer, and he keeps dropping the hammer, and the kids keep putting the hammer back in Grandpa's hand, and it plays funny, but it's sick while you're watching it. So it's like got this weird kind of off balance, and someone might just be like, "Well, that's weird." It's like you don't understand how difficult that is to capture, and the reason that we know that is because no one else has ever done that.
Not really, not to that effect.
Like, and you know, people now, it's like, obviously the movie is dated 40 plus years after.
Oh, yeah.
All movies date. It's like, but there are no other movies from that time period that people still watch seriously.
No. Well, not American movies.
Let me put it to you this way. There are 0 movies from that time period, like, of when they came out, that were made for $60,000 that are in the Modern Museum of Art.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. Fair enough. I'm just, like, talking about movies that came out during that era that were in...
I mean, yeah, no, like, I'm not, like, there's, like, Taxi Driver and Godfather. They're all great, but what I'm saying is it's in that rarefied air.
Okay.
But people don't give it the props that it deserves. Even not the fans, but
clearly
culture.
I mean, we both think it's a very special movie.
Culture at large, like, very much looks down on it. And this is one of the things Joe Bob talks about. It's like, it was a resume killer for anybody that worked on it. No one could get, like, people would actively leave it off their resume because as soon as anybody found out that they were on the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's like, no thanks.
Wow.
You know?
That's crazy.
It's
especially if you think about, like again, amongst horror fans, it's held in such high regard. It's obviously held in such high regard that a big name studio decided to dump millions of fucking dollars into a reboot of it.
Which again, captured none of the intensity of the original.
That movie was a vehicle to watch Jessica Biel run around in hip hugger jeans and a fucking wet t-shirt, which it was great.
Nothing wrong with that, but it's not the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is not. There's been a million sequels. I love the second one, done by Tobe Hooper, but none of them capture that nightmare feeling of the first one.
Yeah.
Like,
a lot of people have tried.
Oh, yeah. But you just can't do it. Like, in the same way that there's been a million heavy metal albums, some good, some bad, and nothing captures the feel of Black Sabbath, Black Sabbath. Nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Absolutely agree with you.
In the same way, nothing captures that feel of what Chainsaw Massacre did. And, you know, it's like, here we are 40 plus years later, unironically enjoying this tiny budgeted little horror movie that these amateur filmmakers down by Austin made.
Visceral.
And like, you know, it's like, there's been Oscar winning film directors that have made horror movies that don't stack up to that.
No, not anywhere close.
You know, so it is,
it's truly, like I said, special what that group of or what that group of people achieved. You know what I mean? And I mean, like, because who was the first Leatherface was
Gunnar Hansen. Yeah.
And I mean, like, he was perfect.
Yeah.
Like
everybody was perfect. Yeah. The other thing that's mind blowing to me.
I'm just saying he has no lines. His job is to be huge, and he still crushed it.
Yeah. But the other thing that's amazing to me about Chainsaw is that other low budget movies, many of which I love, is that typically the things that kind of kill them are the performances of the actors, right? It's like they got no money, they don't have the ability to hire like top flight professionals, you know, so they get either like people that have no experience or just whoever will do it.
Or then there's the ones that like obviously just went and raided a strip club.
Right.
Like, oh my God.
So
in the woods, I'm looking at you.
It's like, wow, you know, it's like a lot of them are really good and interesting horror movies. It's like you kind of look at some of the performances and you're like, whatever. Yeah. But for this one, for some reason, whatever magic that they did or hell that they went through, is that the amateurish performances actually enhance the experience.
Yes.
That's insane.
It makes it seem so much more real.
Because when the girls are screaming in terror, you never don't believe that they're not in terror.
Yes.
Or when the older brother is cackling like a madman, he just seems like a madman. Like 100% sells everything.
Everything.
And that's just like, damn. It's like I can go watch a Marvel movie and that's not true.
Yeah. No, I'll give you that.
So
yeah, I don't think that Benedict Cumberbatch is actually the Sorcerer Supreme.
Right. You know, so it is. That's why it's like I do think that it's one of those like special movies that is going to, and it already has, but is going to live far longer and have a much longer shelf life than many, many, many things that are more highly regarded.
I mean, on top of being, you know, legendary and notorious, it happens to be a very good movie.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it I don't know. It's, like I said, very special.
Yeah. In the same way, much the same way, I think that The Exorcist is very similar.
Yes.
Like, I think that there's something special about The Exorcist.
And a lot of that has to do with the acting performances. Like,
right. Which are completely believable. Like, everything about that movie is completely believable, which it's a ridiculous story.
Right.
But it is told with such conviction that it doesn't matter what you believe. It's believable while you're watching it.
Yeah.
And that is a real trick to pull off. It's like, you know, it's like that's to me the whole thing about possession movies or shows or anything like that. I'm like, you guys aren't living up to The Exorcist, and that was done 40 plus years ago.
And what
are you doing?
Blatantly fiction.
Yeah. You know, it is, you know, I feel that Chainsaw and Exorcist are just...
They will stand alone as two of the best in the genre, period.
Forever.
Ever. Yeah. The Exorcist is the fucking godfather of horror as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah. Like a legit master. That's what I'm saying.
Like a legitimate masterpiece.
Like I said, like Godfather, Taxi Driver, Wild Bunch.
Completely sold me on
Kubrick. It's like, for what they are,
they
are masterpieces.
Yes.
Cannot be topped by bigger budget. Cannot be topped by a remake. It just, bam, that's it right there.
It is.
And that's why I say... Yeah, I, without blinking, 100% would stack those up with anything that's out there.
You completely, I concede my earlier state. That was, that's very well argued, my friend.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could literally talk about horror for another 3 hours, so we need to cut this off. So I guess we're about to sign off here. So give us a like and subscribe and do all of that normal podcast stuff because we really like to do this and we like to continue to do it. So thank you. And yeah, here is just a hot mess of gobbledygook that I came up with while being very overwhelmed by a festival that will not catch me unawares next year.
It's going to be entertaining as hell. You'll enjoy it.
It's fun. And with the Chris Moeller interview, special shout out to Chris Moeller. Thanks, buddy. That was a fun interview.
Thanks, Chris. All right, guys, check it out.
All right. Thank you very much. We will see you next time.
Hey man, I'm Chris Muller. I'm from Denton, Texas.
When I walked up on Chris, he was just like, "Hey man, I got all these critters in jars." Tell us a little bit about like what's up with that right now, man. You're just collecting that shit.
Well, because it's kind of cool. You got to think about like, remember when we were kids and like going to school and you'd see those. I remember there was people that like when I was a kid, like people had farms and stuff, and they'd be like, "Oh my God, I got a 2-headed pig," and like they would show it, and like it'd be somebody's, you know, and like obviously they didn't live, but like yeah, and so it was just kind of that. Yeah, and so
got kind of like into spooky ass critters, man.
and I collect different things at different times, and like sometimes it's toys, sometimes it's whatever. Right now, I'm kind of in the weird things in jars.
Weird things in jars. Like what spawned that? You were just like, "Hey man, jars look cool."
They do, and like I said, like I got them in the living room, and my wife hates them. She hates them so much, and I have a petrified possum somewhere, but I can't find it.
Where the fuck did you get a petrified possum?
Hank from work, he found it like because he's a handyman, and he found it like under the crawl space, and he gave it to me, and it was like beef jerky. Like he's like, dude, it's not gonna rot. Like it's straight up, like it's been there probably like 50 years, and he gave it to me. I can't remember if I lost it or if I said maybe I can't take it because Amanda would shit, but.
I get that. It's so funny to me because if I found a petrified possum, the first person I'd think, I was like, I bet Chris wants this thing.
It's strange, but like, yeah, like, and like they got, yeah, all those things. And now I think about like, maybe I could do this.
You want to start taxidermying small animals?
Maybe not, just putting them in jars. But like, I don't think I'd ever make money of it. But like, yeah, if I could figure out a way to put eyeballs in something, I mean,
like,
I would.
Roughly how much did you spend on critters in jars today, bud?
Well, between yesterday and today, I've spent about $75.
There's money in it, I guess. It's an industry.
I spent $75 on a fetal pig and a fetal rabbit.
And you already got your eye on other critters, don't you?
Literally, I got sheep eyes at home. There's they got some sheep brains that I've had. They got lampreys. You know what those are? Some people call them hagfish.
Yeah, exactly.
But yes, they got those kind of cheap, and they got those anole lizards that you seen.
Yeah.
Like I mean, we
window in the middle of the night. Yeah.
They got those, and those are only like $20. But I'm like, man, I don't need one of those. I could throw him in a bottle of alcohol, and we'll be good. Like, I don't need that shit. Like, I need something I can't get. Like, I don't know how I'm gonna get a tiny pig or a tiny.
If anybody could, you could. I'm confident of that.
Fair enough. Well, I got lots of raccoons outside of my place, so like I could maybe figure out a way to find them. But like, yeah. I just need jars. How big? Dude, there was this guy, it was probably like, for you podcast people out there that can't see what I'm doing, it's about, I don't know, it was about
2 foot?
About 2 foot. He had a squid in there.
Oh, shit.
And he was carrying it in a box, and he was just hugging it like it was his best friend, and I wanted to see it so bad, but he wouldn't even open it, and he was just holding it, and I was like, oh, here I am just nickel and diamonds. $30 and $40 rabbits and pigs, and this motherfucker's got a giant squid. May or may not be still alive. It's fucking strange.
So what brings you out to the con, man? Like what? Just horror in general?
Yeah, like what brings us all out here. One, we all love horror movies. We have since we were kids.
Very much so.
Two, it's family, man. We get out here. Shit, I didn't know you were gonna be here.
I didn't know you were gonna be here either. I was real happy when I saw you yesterday.
I was super stoked when I saw you, and that's the thing, man. Like, I mean, whether it's a comic convention, Star Wars, May the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you.
Whether it's whatever, man. Like, here's
Wrestling.
the thing. Yeah, whatever. Like, we're all dorks in our own way, and
Damn straight.
we get to come out here, and nobody looks at us. We win. We win.
We're the majority.
I heard a story. Literally, I heard a story yesterday. This dude said that like there was some I guess a British guy come in and he was straight doing business and come into the hotel and was like, I don't want to be here. Like this is, and it's like, well, you're out of luck there, partner.
Sorry, buddy.
For once, we're the majority. You fail.
We are literally in a place where Chris could sit here and talk about having a backpack full of jars of critters, and people just be like, "That's badass."
But
I love it.
Yeah, but no, we're totally we are in the majority. And everybody look at all these people.
yeah, man.
Some of these people I've seen I mean, I've been here since yesterday. Some of these people I've already shook hands with them, met.
A couple shots of the old Jim Beam.
Yeah, that too. But and we're all it's not. We're the majority
We're
for
the majority,
once.
and we're having a good time. I'll say that, man.
For
We're
once,
fucking
we
fun.
are the majority, and y'all don't win. You can't go, oh, you weirdos, get out of here. No, actually, the weirdo, straight
Don't
up.
you have a backpack full of fucking jarred critters?
Exactly, man. It's crazy, and it's really, really cool. And like I said, this is only my second time to be here. I missed last year, but I went year before, and it's just rad. Like I said, we're all dorks, and we can have a good time and look at our dork friends and for at least a weekend. What's wrong with that?
No, there's nothing. We're having good, wholesome, clean fun here, man. And it just happens that there's body parts and shit everywhere.
Yeah, and people bring their kids and stuff like that, so it can't be that crazy. I did see a chick with their knockers hanging out, but she put a tape on them, and Amanda, my wife, she said, "Oh, that's kind of wrong," and I was like, "Is it?" I mean, it ain't
Hurting anybody?
Yeah, and she went, she put her, but yeah, I saw her, and it's wasn't necessarily the kind of knockers I'd like, but she had them all.
She was confident. That's what matters.
Yes, and that's the cool thing. Once again, back to that, she didn't give a shit, and nobody does. That's it. And I got people, I got friends from Longview and stuff like that come here.
Yeah, man.
And I see him, and I don't ever see him all the time.
It's definitely been kind of a reunion. There's yesterday especially, I was walking around every 10 minutes, just Carrek, what's up? And it's running into somebody I hadn't seen in a while.
I saw Corey from the Horrifics. Do you remember that band, the Horrifics?
I do remember the Horrifics.
I saw Corey earlier today smoking cigarettes. We drank most of that whiskey that you got the last end of.
Thank you for that, by the way.
But yeah, I saw him. We were standing right where we are right now, and I saw him, and he was and they played last night, somewhere in Arlington, and I was like, what the fuck, dude? I hadn't seen it. Yeah. And so,
Lyle from Ghoultown's running around here somewhere, too.
Oh, yeah, he's always here doing his Bigfoot stuff.
Yes, sir.
And so, yeah. And once again, back to, I've known Lyle forever.
Yeah.
And
I was playing with Lyle when I was still playing punk and ska bands and shit, dude.
I was playing with Lyle and rock and roll bands, and I've been in videos and with them and shit like that. And so, I love Lyle and Jeff and all them, man. We all been cool. Shit, Paul who played bass with them. This chick I dated, they were roommates.
It's crazy, man. Small fucking
world. Small world, man. It just goes and goes and goes and goes, and so.
And it's even smaller when we gather a bunch of people like us into one place, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's truly been fun. It's been a blast, man. You having a good time? I mean, you look like you're having a great fucking time.
I'm having a good time. I got a weekend pass on. I don't know if I'm going to make it tomorrow. Cause,
yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
There's still a lot of critters and jars in there, Chris.
That part is true. Did you go check out any panels or anything like that?
I checked out one of the panels last night. I went and saw the, I guess it was a panel for a movie that's coming out yet. I can't even remember the name of it. But mostly I've been walking around just trying to talk to, like, people at the fest, you know what I mean?
We checked out the Reanimator panel today when we got here. Yeah, it was cool.
It was a panel.
Yeah. Sometimes those, like, they start off cool and then you get antsy. And you're like, I want to move.
We just spent 90 minutes talking about a frame, dude.
And I want to get up, but now it's packed and I need to move, but I don't want to bother these people. And so you just sit. This dude beside me was sleeping. And swear to God. and so it is what it is, you know. But like, it was pretty cool. There's a couple more coming up today.
Well, anything you're excited about, like particularly, or just you gonna play it by ear?
I'm gonna play it by ear.
Is there anything caught your eye?
I just want to buy. I'm just down to get a bunch of DVDs or Blu-rays or whatever you want to call
Oh, and
them.
they've got some cool shit in there, man.
Stuff that I can't get, or you know, and then T-shirts are cool, and then of course Animals in a Jar. And,
don't forget all the bones. They got a shitload of bones in there too.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. It's in my backpack, and I'm scared that they're gonna, because they got these ones that look like a spider, but I'm scared that they're gonna break. I can't.
Fragile.
I can't put them in my backpack. I just won't. I won't.
That's fair.
And so.
It's a Sunday buy, right?
Maybe if I even make it. Yeah. And so yeah, but like, man, like I said, just. Long and short of it is just looking around and looking at all these people like are really cool, and we're all in the same thing. Like I said, I didn't know I was gonna see you here, and there's people, and you just look and you're just like, I don't know that person, but they're, you know, but they know me. We're all in the same world, and we can have a here she comes, huh? How we're doing?
Oh, busted! You want to get on the podcast? You want to be on the podcast? No. Anyway, I would like... We're doing a podcast. Anyway, Chris, I want to thank you for being on the show, man. I appreciate it. If I see you again, I might holler at you.
Hey, thank you. I'll see you soon.
My name's Randall Ireland. I'm from Denton.
I've known Randall since he was a goth kid in middle school, and he had fake silver fangs and called himself Raven. No, but Randall is legitimately one of the biggest horror fans I've ever known. In fact, he introduced me to a lot of the horror movies that I loved back when we were kids. So, like, first off, you having a good time, bud?
Oh, dude, this has been amazing, man. It's the first time ever at a con, and we're having a blast.
When did you get out here? You got out here last night, right?
Yeah, we came out here last night. We probably got here about 5 o'clock.
See, and you guys have been trying to do everything you can so far, right?
Oh, trying to get as much done as we can. We're trying to make the best of it. We're here for all 3 days. So.
Right on. So what have you done so far?
Spent a shitload of money.
That is true. They came walking up with just bags and bags of stuff.
And stood in line for 3 hours to get Bruce Campbell's autographs. So.
Was that worth it?
Well, it kept me from spending $300 for a little while.
I suppose that's true.
I mean, I spent it really quickly afterwards, but yes, it was worth it. Bruce Campbell's a badass dude.
Right on.
You know, I mean, and I've been in love with Bruce Campbell since I was little.
And you met Scott Ian yesterday, right?
I met Scott Ian and Nick Castle today.
Nice, man.
So.
Right on, man. So, like, what so far has been your favorite thing?
Dude, honestly, just the whole experience all around, man. All the cosplay has been awesome.
Yeah, agreed.
And, I mean, we've bought a bunch of cool shit that I have no room for. And, but, I mean, probably meeting, so far the best thing has probably been meeting Bruce Campbell, because he's You know, like I said, it's been one of my idols. And as we were going inside, I got to meet Lance Henriksen just out here smoking a cigarette. So.
Nice. Did you talk to him at all?
Oh yeah, I shook his hand. Everything. I mean, he's sitting there, just cool as hell.
Yeah, man. Everybody seems to be in a really good mood. Like all of the special guests and things like that. Like there's just a really good vibe going on today. So, what's your favorite cosplay bit so far? Because there's some insane shit running around.
Oh hell. I'd have to say probably that dude that I just saw, but I don't even really know how to describe what the hell he is.
You're talking to, okay, so this guy was like covered in black rock-like substance.
Purple, yeah, black purple. It almost looks like horrored out Groot.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got like LED lights under his shit, so he's like all glowy.
Yeah, that one's pretty badass. The dude dressed as the safe head guy from Resident Evil's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. That's a legit costume.
I didn't get to see her, but my wife got a picture of this chick dressed up as Darkness from Legend.
Really?
And from the picture, it looked pretty badass. But I was stuck in the line for Bruce Campbell during all that.
I think I saw that picture. I might see if she'll let me get a hold of it for the website. But the headpiece on that thing was insane. Because if you've ever seen Legend, Tim Curry wears like this 25-pound like rack of horns.
Yeah. It was based on the picture. It looked fucking huge and probably heavy as hell.
Yeah, they said that she had to like detach the horns to walk around because it was just a lot for her head.
I don't doubt it, man. It's been awesome, man. This whole experience.
So, how late did you stay out? Did you go to the Evil Dead party last night?
No, because we're old.
Yeah, no, I feel that.
No, we were planning on it, but then we got left here and went and got some food, and I'm like, we're tired, we're old, let's go home and go to bed.
Yeah. Hit it hard tomorrow, right?
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah, it's been great, man.
So, is there anything else that you're like specifically looking forward to this weekend, or?
Cassandra Peterson's tits.
Everybody keeps mentioning her tits on my podcast.
I wonder why. They're amazing.
They're pretty great. They're kind of iconic.
Honestly, probably the most awesome thing I'm looking forward to is meeting Tim Curry.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, because we got a photo op set up with him for tomorrow.
That's awesome. I actually hear he's doing a lot better these days.
Yeah, I think so. Apparently he had another stroke not that long ago, though.
I've heard that once you have a stroke, the chances of having more strokes increases significantly, for sure.
But yeah, him and Robert Englund are probably my two favorite people to meet here.
Yeah, I've heard Robert Englund is just one of the coolest guys in the world.
Yeah, so...
But, man, I'm glad you guys are having a good time.
It's great to... it's amazing spending something like this with people that you love and they're friends, shit like
Agreed, buddy.
So,
for sure, man.
So it's good to see you. I'm glad y'all made it out. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is what I do.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, if it was either this or sit alone in a room while my co-host was here doing security and just fucking do nothing.
Right. Hey, man, it's if y'all for all y'all out there, if y'all haven't had a chance to come to Frightmare, man, y'all need to make it out at one of these years.
Yeah, man, I absolutely agree. Texas Frightmare Weekend, the 2020 is probably going to be just as nuts as this year.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You guys planning on coming out next year?
A lot of it's going to depend on who the guests are, but we're talking about it, yeah.
That's fair. I feel that.
I mean, if there's not really anybody here that I'm not like, oh, I got to meet them, then we're probably not, but we're going to start making it a regular thing.
I'm pretty sure if they told you Bruce Campbell was at the top of a volcano, you'd haul ass right up the side of that volcano.
I might give him a little handy while I'm up there. I don't know.
It's always nice to meet your idols.
Like, hail to the king, baby. TCB.
Anyway, Randall, I want to thank you for being on, man. Give the people a word.
Word.
All right, you heard it here. That was a technical difficulty. Oh, shit. I think I deleted half of that.
Oh, no.
So one more time, what's your name and where are you from? Anyway, I'm here with two members of the staff. I think I fucked that whole interview up, but, yeah, editing, I got this. But anyway, I'd just like to thank you guys so much for talking to me for a little while, and have a good time this weekend.
Absolutely.
Be safe. Thank you very much.